I didn't invite my parents to my wedding because they always took my sister's side even when she falsely claimed that my fiancé forced himself on her. My sister, female 28, is the golden child. She could do nothing wrong with my family. She is very beautiful and she got away with everything, even stealing 3 of my boyfriends in the past. I met my fiancé 5 years ago. I was in love with him immediately, and I think so was he. That left me reluctant to introduce him to my family, and sister in particular, because he's her type, rich and good-looking. After a year of secretly dating him, I was running out of excuses as to why I couldn't meet my family. I literally thought, screw it. If she took him, better now than when I've invested more years on this dude. She acted precisely as I expected. She was flirty from the get-go. Except this time my fiancé didn't reciprocate and ignored her. One day my fiancé told me that he was receiving flirty texts from her and even one picture of her in a bra. I confronted her and we had a row in mom's kitchen. She went upstairs crying, telling me that if she really wanted him, she would have him. My mom kicked me out and told me he's more my sister's age anyway. About 3 years ago, I was out of town for work for 2 weeks. And one evening, my fiancé started a video call on his iPad to show me how he was taking care of my bonsais. He was teasing me, pretending he's killing my plants, when the intercom called. It was my sister, so he buzzed her up. I told him to leave me on call to see what she's up to. She had a very short dress and heels. She came on to him, so I started recording. He told her no multiple times and she asked him why he chose a loser instead of her. She then tried to kiss him multiple times, telling him to at least try before saying no. He pushed her away eventually and she stumbled and fell over our glass coffee table. She started screaming and my boyfriend panicked and called the ambulance. I was terrified. She had injured her thigh and needed stitches all the way up to her waist. My sister pressed charges and claimed that fiancé tried to violate her, unaware that I have recorded the whole interaction. When the truth came out, my fiancé pressed charges for assault and defamation. She didn't get any jail time but had to pay him a hefty sum, something my parents thought was unfair since he didn't need the money. This ruined my sister and her reputation, so she moved to another city and cut all contacts with everyone, including my parents who took her side all the way. My parents blamed me for ruining her life and bright future, and my mom always lamented her and accused me of taking a stranger's side, purely to take revenge on my sister for being more popular and successful than me. I went low contact after this, almost no contact. My relationship with my fiancé didn't change, but it was strained with my soon-to-be in-laws who thought I have brought drama to them, and that their son was on the verge of losing everything because of me. We have a much better relationship now. It took time for them to trust me again. I'm very close with my soon-to-be mother-in-law and sister-in-law, and father-in-law treats me like I was his daughter. In fact, they're paying for the whole wedding. I never told my parents about me getting engaged or about the wedding. My aunt and 2 cousins are the only ones who are invited from my side of the family. We're having a weekend wedding in Tuscany. My parents are now so indignant that they aren't invited. My mom has been trying to call and text me, but I deleted before even reading. I don't know what to tell her, really. It feels like hate, the thing in my chest, but it can't be possible to hate your own parents. Today my aunt said that my mom is slandering me all over Facebook and has threatened my aunt by boycotting if she attended. I don't know if I should continue ignoring them or confront them. This is not easy. I don't want it to escalate. Now for the top advice. It is not hateful to remove horrible people from your life, even if they are your primary family. Get a new phone number and or block them. I changed my number about 2 years ago when I got engaged. I don't know who gave them my new number. Can you get a restraining order? I imagine your fiancé has a good cause. Try to think of it this way. Pretend you are 5 years in the future. Will you regret not having your mother, father, and possibly sister at the wedding? There's no way it will go over well. I won't regret it. Not in 20 years. Unfortunately, restraining orders aren't a thing in my country. Not even for husbands who mistreat their wives. Be supportive of your aunt and cousin no matter what their decision. But your parents' intentions for going to your wedding aren't good. They're not to celebrate or support you. The fact that they slander you shows their priority isn't to build bridges with you. You have mended your relationship with your in-laws. Focus on those healthy relationships for your wedding. If you feel the need to message your parent/mother, don't invite them to the wedding. Tell them you're prepared to hear what they're reaching out now, and that you hope they're willing to make their behavior up to you so you can both move forward with improving your relationship for the future. You have nothing to apologize for. They do, especially your mother and sister. Congratulations, and do not let them near your wedding or tear you down. Yes, that's what I told my aunt. That she didn't need to attend if she didn't want to, but my cousins are already decided. I really don't want them in my wedding. I just don't know if I should confront them and tell them to stop or continue ghosting them. Both can lead to drama. Honestly, ghost them. I'm a bit of a petty soul, so I would definitely play up with getting on with your in-laws at all the wedding prepping on social media, because that's going to absolutely get to them. Forgive me for saying, but your mother and sisters seem very obsessed with how they look to others, and seeing you have a great time and being affected by their drama would be the biggest middle finger you could give them. If you're posting on social media about having the support of in-laws and friends to make up for not having support from them, and then they're bad-mouthing you, you won't need to tell them to be quiet, because anything they say will just make them look bad. Trust me, I'm not unaffected. I'm terrified of what could happen, and if it escalates to something like what happened 3 years ago. I'm trying to minimize the problem as much as I can. They mean so little to me to care to take revenge. I just want my anxiety to go away. It seems mighty likely you need to cut ties with anyone that supports your sister, including your parents. Sorry, at least your guy's family likes you. I haven't seen them in over 2 years and we live in the same city. Now for the last story. I have had enough of my stepdaughter, so I moved back to my parents with my son. I'm also 8 weeks pregnant and I don't know what to do. I don't know if this is even ethical because it's about a minor. I will keep it anonymous and hope for the best. I'm at the end of my tether here and I feel paralyzed and in desperate need of advice. I, female 38, met my husband, male 44, about 4 years ago. I'm 8 weeks pregnant. Only husband I know. I have a son, male 8, with my boyfriend who passed away in a car accident before my son was born. My husband has a daughter, female 13, from a previous marriage. Stepdaughter lives with us every other week. When we got married, ex-wife tried everything to get full custody of stepdaughter and failed. But it was made very clear to me, by stepdaughter, ex-wife and husband, that I am not her mother and I am not allowed to participate in raising her. Stepdaughter basically ignored me and my son in our weeks. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't hurting anyone directly. My son learned very early not to cross stepdaughter, and kept to himself when she was around. I suspect ex-wife behind stepdaughter's coldness towards me, and thought this must be hard for stepdaughter with all these changes. I tried to befriend her over the years, but she wasn't having it. It got worse when ex-wife remarried and got pregnant with twins 2 years ago. She started ignoring stepdaughter, trying to get my husband to have her more. We happily obliged, and basically stopped being a mother to her. It didn't help either that the new husband didn't like stepdaughter and wasn't shy about not wanting to raise another man's daughter. I asked my husband if we could take stepdaughter full-time and try to raise her, because I saw that her mental health was deteriorating and that she needed stability. The ex-wife blatantly refused the suggestion, so we continued with the every other week. The twins were born about a year ago and all went downhill from there. It seemed like the worse stepdaughter had it at her mom's, the more she hated me and my son. She would throw fits a couple of times every time she's with us. Break our stuff. Call me a witch if I try to tell her off. It's her house because her father bought it and we're just guests. She would yell at my son, and she even hit him a couple of times, telling him to keep to his room if he didn't like her treatment of him. When I told her not to put her hand on my son, she told me, "What are you going to do about it?" My son grew fearful of her and would ask me to take him to Grandpa, boyfriend's father, when she's living with us. I talked to my husband about it. I told him stepdaughter needed professional help because she's not feeling well, and she's making us miserable when she's around. So she started to go to therapy, 6 months now. Other than that, my husband didn't know what to do either. If he tried to talk to her about being nice to us, she played innocent and told him she was playing around and hugged and kissed my son in front of him. And if he tried to be stern, she threw a tantrum and accused him of loving my son more than her. 3 months ago, my son's grandpa passed away. This hit my son and me very hard. My son was inconsolable for many weeks and couldn't really understand what it meant that he couldn't see Grandpa again. Grandpa was a carpenter, so his boyfriend. So since very young age, my son loved hanging with him at the garage working. Many times when he's there, he came home with something they made together. butter knives, boxes, chessboards, and for my 38th birthday last summer, I got a stool that my son designed himself and built with his grandpa and then painted. This was the last project they had together since Grandpa passed away a few weeks later, so the stool was priceless to us. We had it in the kitchen. Stepdaughter made a lot of negative remarks about the stool, how ugly and poorly made it was. She laughed at my son's poor taste, and he was very distraught. This was the first time, however, that my husband got very angry at her and asked her to go to her room. She was so scared of his reaction that she went without any protest. This Christmas, Stepdaughter was supposed to be with her mother. On Christmas Eve, her mother dropped her off at our house very early in the morning. Her new husband had decided he didn't want her to go with them to his parents' house, where they usually spent Christmas. Stepdaughter was on the verge of tears standing there listening to her mother making excuses to my husband and me. My husband hugged Stepdaughter the whole time, and I tried to fight away my tears. After her mom left, she went upstairs to her room to sleep. I also went to sleep since we don't usually wake up this early in holidays. My husband went to the gym and later he was going to the train station to bring my parents who were going to celebrate Christmas with us. Around 10 a.m., I heard my son screaming and crying downstairs. I ran down in horror. Stepdaughter had decided to break the stool my son had built with his grandpa, and she was trying to shove it in the fireplace. When she saw me, she smirked and said she didn't want ugly furniture in her house. I pulled her away and told her to go to her room and try to get the pieces of wood out of the fireplace. That was when she threw a scalding hot liquid in my face. It was a hot cocoa. I yelled in pain and my son started panicking, so I ran to him to tell him that I was fine. Stepdaughter stood there laughing. I took my son upstairs and went back to her. I grabbed her hard in her arm and started pulling, pushing, and dragging her up to her room and locked the door. Husband came home with my parents moments later. My mom took me to the emergency room, and my son insisted on coming with me. I had second-degree burn on my cheek and neck. When I went home, my husband was so mad at me for attacking Stepdaughter by using force to get her to her room. He told me I should have had compassion knowing how hurt she was by her mother's abandonment. I told him that I had enough of this. I'm living a nightmare half of the time, having to walk in eggshells in my own home whenever she's around. My son is a prisoner in his own room when she's living with us, too terrified to cross a boundary of hers. I told him that I don't know how to handle this, and that it was a mistake from the beginning that I wasn't allowed to be a parental figure in her life with authority. He disagreed and told me that she has a kind heart and needed patience. But the thing is, I don't think she does. She targeted my son's handiwork fully aware of its sentimental value. In my face because she always hated the fact that my husband thinks I'm beautiful. It is opened with complimenting my eyes and smile. I didn't stay there for Christmas. I took my son and parents and went to my parents' home where I live now. My husband is in panic mode. He's been texting and calling me all the time trying to get me to move back and work things out. Stepdaughter even texted apologizing. You probably made her. But I don't know what to do. I love him so much, but I'm ashamed to say that I hate that girl. My son starts hyperventilating of the thought of living with her again. And what about my unborn baby? I feel sick of the thought of having 50-50 custody of being at the mercy of his half-sister when it's my husband's week. This thought makes me want to have a termination. Please tell me if there's another solution to this hell I'm living. Now for the advice. Stepdaughter is a hot mess, and your husband is in serious denial. Even seeing you with an injury sustained at the hand of his daughter, he still defended her. Now that he's finally seeing consequences of his inactions, he says there will be change. Nope. His daughter needs a lot of help, and obviously the therapy is not enough. Your son probably needs therapy, because after years of dealing with his stepsister, he is heavily traumatized if not suffering from PTSD. Your new baby is in grave danger if it ever goes near its half-sister. Makes you wonder about the twins. Stay with your parents where it is safe. Your husband has to prove it is safe in his house, and an apology is nowhere near enough from your stepdaughter. Oddly enough, she loves her twin brothers and her stepdad very much. I've seen her with them in her last birthday. She was like a whole nother stepdaughter around them. You have second-degree burns and he says she has a kind heart and you attacked her? You got attacked by her. You didn't even touch her other than getting her away from the fire until she did that to you. There was no telling what she might do next, so you had to manhandle her into her room for you and your son's safety. She saw how she injured you and did not relent and voluntarily go to her room. Honestly, make him an ex-husband. Press charges. Nothing will happen to her because of her age, but you need a paper trail ASAP in case you decide to keep the pregnancy so you can pursue full custody. This is not even about co-parenting. She was hurting your son out of jealousy for a long time. She already feels replaced by her mother with the twins. There is no telling what she will do if her dad has another kid. She put you in the hospital and it tells you off for how you handle the situation? There's no solution other than divorce. Everything else would be unfair to your son. If you still want the baby, remember that not every parent gets 50-50. You could insist on supervised visits only, or that he will only have the child on alternating days with his other kid. However, remember in 5 years she will be of age and can go wherever she pleases. She could even move in with him, and there would be little you could do to stop it. Restraining orders are difficult to enforce and usually time-limited. Maybe he would be open to sign away his rights for a favorable split of assets in the divorce, but that wouldn't guarantee he will never change his mind and drag you into a lengthy, costly battle. Really weigh all your options. It is heartbreaking. But are you sure you want to be tied to this man for the next 18 years? His daughter didn't get this all from her mother. Just be sure you will not come to regret it and take it out on your kid. It is hateful to be constantly reminded how they are causing their parents stress by existing or resembling the ex. I would not raise a baby with this man. He will choose his daughter, no matter how awful she is. It was a huge mistake not letting you discipline her because she has been shown that you aren't an authority figure. She physically attacked you. It is so to your son so often that he lives in fear. Don't put yourself and your son through this hell. I can't tell you whether or not you should get a procedure, but I would personally choose your mental and physical health over anything. It's unfortunate, but sometimes love isn't enough. That's exactly how I feel. If I stay with him, it's hell. If I separate and keep the baby, he will have 50% custody, and then I will live in fear. I'm not sure where you live, but if you document the physical attack, you may be able to get a restraining order so she can't be around when he has the baby, or limit the supervised visits. But it is still very early in the pregnancy. I would have a long discussion with your husband. Tell him it's gotten so bad you are considering a procedure. I hope you live in a country where you don't need his permission for that. The only solid solution for reconciliation I see is if he completely gives up custody of her. It won't help the hell beast's mental health, but it's the only way I can see you living a peaceful life with this man. He can't. Her mother and her new husband would probably throw her out. I couldn't bear it.
Am I the a-hole because I banned my step-family from my house and being disrespectful to dad's wife? Plus updates. Original post. Okay, so I, 28 female, am conflicted. This is a long one with some backstory. My dad, 66 male, divorced my mom, 61 female, when I finished high school. They were in their 50s. They had not been working for a long time. He remarried last year to a woman, Shelley, 54 female. She has 3 kids, Jacob, 32 male, Amelia, 29 female, and Alex, 29 male. My brothers and I didn't really interact with them. At the beginning of last year, I inherited my grandfather's estate and got to move into an amazing house. My dad was the one who was supposed to inherit it, but my grandfather was a petty person and gave it to me. I have been in the house since November 18th and have had very few visitors. It was mostly contractors to fix up the home, build a large fence, and refurbish the barn. I was feeling really good about my decorations and how nice it was. My brothers, Damien, 36 male, and his wife, Nadine, 32 female, Lachlan, 30 male, with his partner, Marianne, 33 female, and my younger brother, Matthew, 24 male, were over to look at the renovations and to plan the holidays when my dad arrived with his new wife. I felt a little upset because I had not invited them. My dad had sprung a lot on us, like the wedding, and I had not even gotten a chance to meet her before we arrived at the wedding. My dad told me about a barbecue that he was having so we could get to know each other. We had a few drinks with some snacks before people began going home. It seemed normal. I arrived on time and Shelley huffed when I walked in. I hugged my dad and went to the backyard. I stayed mostly with my siblings and their partners. We are all introverted, so social gatherings are awkward. Dinner felt awkward. I was sat in the corner next to the kids. We were all engaging in small talk when suddenly Shelley asked why I was taking antidepressants and a few other medications. She also told me that if I was that unhappy, I shouldn't be in such a big house all by myself. The table went dead silent. I asked why she was in my bathroom. I didn't even know when she had a chance to go into my bedroom or bathroom. Shelley told me that family didn't keep secrets, and it was her job as my new mom to make sure I was okay. I looked at my siblings and they were all shocked. I told her that she wasn't my mom and that going into my bathroom was a gross invasion of my privacy. Shelley told me that I was overreacting and that I was just like my crazy-ass mother. I got up, told her that she was not welcome in my house in the future and that I would not be coming to any family functions that she was participating in until she apologized to me. My siblings walked out with me. They could not believe that she would be so audacious and act like that. My dad called later and told me that I was being sensitive and that Shelley probably just needed to use something from my bathroom. I told him that he was putting on blinders and this was a red flag. He told me not to talk to him until I calmed down and acted like an adult. I don't think that I was being unreasonable, but I am overthinking now and wondering if I might be the a-hole. I need some unbiased opinions because I think we might be biased from my dad's blind side with the wedding and everything. Please, I also need advice moving forward. I love my dad and I want to at least be cordial with his new wife. Clarification, they left my house. It was the next day that we went to their house for a barbecue. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. Well, someone is clearly unhappy that you inherited that house. Stand your ground on this one. Not the a-hole. She invaded your privacy, aired your business out, and then proceeded to be rude and disrespectful. Your dad's in the same boat. If anyone did that to my child, wife or not, they'd be getting an earful, not my child. You're right to ban her from your house. Okay, thank you. I've been spinning a bit. Not the a-hole. She's nosy and invasive, and I wouldn't be surprised if she was looking for things to steal. If you have anything valuable, double check to make sure it's still there. Also, put up security cameras if you don't already have them. I'd guess that she heard about how the house was supposed to be your dad's and feels like it's her right to go through anything and everything in it, since in her mind, it belongs to your dad, and of course anything that belongs to him belongs to her as well. They don't see it as your house, they see it as their house that you're keeping from them. Your dad is a piece of garbage who is choosing the body warming his bed over his own child. Tell him you're not apologizing, and as far as you're concerned, if he's okay with her being an invasive harpy, then he can stay out of your life too. She's not your mother, never has been, never will be, and nothing you do has anything to do with her or is any of her business. She's not family, and if he's going to let her treat you and your siblings this way, he clearly isn't family to you anymore either. I have security cameras and dogs who are a-holes. My property's large, so I also have some other guard animals that are mean to me, so they'll be ruder to trespassers. My dad is not the easiest to get along with. He is introverted and has a hard time with confrontations, part of the reason why it took them so long to divorce. He has reached out to my siblings and asked them to talk to me about overreacting, and my older brothers have told him to go get his head out of his behind, and when he finally sees what is wrong, they will be willing to talk to him again. My younger brother is trying to convince us that we need to sit down and have a talk without Shelley to really talk about everything. Now for the first update. This is only a small update because of everyone telling me that she was going to try and take my house. I called my dad, which was really heartbreaking. I asked him what he would do if someone went through his things. He said it was different because she was worried about me. He then told me that he spoke to her about his mentally unstable daughter who makes poor choices. And I'm not lying, I started crying. I asked him if he wanted a relationship with me, because his actions were screaming that he no longer wanted me. He let out a deep sigh and asked if I was still talking to my shrink because I was acting just like my mother. I am ashamed to say that I started yelling at him over the phone. How dare he treat me like this? How dare he talk about my personal information with a stranger? And how dare he act like this is okay? I have been medicated since I was 14 because of him. I have given excuses for his actions for years and tried to be a good daughter, to do things that are outside of my character, to fit his idea of a perfect daughter. So screw you. Then I hung up the phone and called my emotional support human, my older brother Damien, and cried to him. He was running errands, I suppose, because he showed up at my house and brought with him ice cream and Baileys. We sat in my bed with my dog and ate ice cream and drank Baileys straight from the bottle. The next confrontation is with Shelly in a day or two. Also, for those worried, if I am institutionalized or anything, my brother Lachlan gets the house. I am also going to call my mom, because this has been more upsetting than I thought it would be, and she will fly in and rip my dad a new one. Possibly might punch Shelly too. Right now, I just need booze and the comfort of the strangers from the internet. Second update. So, Damien summoned the rest of our siblings for emotional support and cuddles, and Marianne called my mom. I called my shrink and explained what was going on, and have a session tomorrow to talk about the emotional roller coaster that I have been on. From what I can tell, Amelia is still talking to my mom about how my dad is being a disrespectful a-hole, and Lachlan and the rest of my siblings are helping me with chores. I have emailed my lawyer about my will. Many of you were concerned about my dad trying to gain guardianship of me, which will never be an option. In that case, my older brother would be the one taking care of me. Shelly has tried calling me a few times since hanging up with my dad, but I don't want to talk to her. Right now, our youngest Matthew is talking with my dad and Shelly. I have been looking over some of the texts he has been sending with updates of what they're saying. My step-siblings have also been talking to me. Amelia told me that her mom was awkward and really just wanted us to like her, but I don't know. I'm really on the fence if I even want to go and speak with Shelly. I can understand, to a point, my dad's concerns, but at the same time, I have been healthy and taking care of myself for the past 6 years. I have been doing really well, if I say so myself. I have a great support system with my siblings, and I might even be willing to get to know my step-siblings. Also, my mom is flying in apparently. She has been in Ireland for the past 5 years and has been very happy, but feels that it's time to rip my dad a new one for mistreating her little chicken. My parents divorced because my mom was unstable, which was just an excuse. She is bipolar, so she can be a little much. For those worried, my dad has very little info about my mental health. He was the person who got a phone call because he used to be my emergency contact and was at the bottom of the list. Unfortunately, my brothers were not answering, so they contacted him, and all he heard was that I was on a 72-hour hold for my own safety. He has held it over my head. I am going to have limited contact with my dad, as many have suggested no contact, but I don't want to cut him off. My brothers have been very supportive of me with everything that has been going on. They have been making plans because they have been reading this too. They keep telling me I should bring one of my pets to my parents' house and let it loose. From what limited information I have, Shelly is terrified of spiders, and I have a few that would make a lovely addition to their home. There are some really nice spots for a spider to hide and reproduce. But I don't think I will. I don't want them to get squished. I am setting up more security cameras, as well as adding locks. My will is still in place from several years ago, stating that everything I own would be given to my brothers. I have no trespassing signs all over my property, as well as a very good gate that keeps most invaders out. I will update in the next few days with news if there is any. Next story. Am I the a-hole for going no contact with my dad and siblings after a big fight where I accused them of replacing mom because they want to be taken care of? 6 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with a rare form of stomach cancer. I, 22 male, was 16 at the time and the only one who stepped up to take care of her until she died. My dad tried to talk her into carrying on as normal and taking care of everything and everyone because he didn't think he could. He'd get so mad at mom for being too tired or too sore and stiff to get out of bed. He always made excuses not to drive her to chemo and other medical appointments. He broke down sobbing when she went for surgery, and not because he was so scared of losing her. It was because he didn't want to handle everything while she was out of commission. He even asked if they couldn't figure out ways to treat her where she could be normal. In the final 3 months of her life, she was bedbound and he was either at work or sitting around the house complaining about how nothing was done. My brother was 15 and my sister was 13 at the time, so it wasn't like they could do a whole lot, which I get, and they were kids too, so it shouldn't have been on them. But they complained about not having the same food as when mom was healthy. They used to ask her why she didn't make them their favorite snacks and everything. She could be puking up her guts or unable to move in bed, and they wanted more from her. They were always getting mad at me for not keeping things like they were before. Then they'd accuse me of hogging mom, but wouldn't go and sit with her. Whenever I tried to let them talk to me, they'd complain about all the stuff they hated me for, and would still say I was taking away their time with mom. The last thing my brother said to her was why couldn't she get out of bed to make him a birthday cake early, so he'd have one last mom-made birthday cake. And it wasn't even his birthday yet, hence the early comment. After mom died, everyone was having a crappy time and I got grief for having one too. They would yell at me for pulling away from them. They yelled at me for dropping out of school to get a job where I was doing, instead of sitting and learning, for not taking care of them, and for telling them to F off. But Dad could lose his job, could get drunk and sleep around, and that was fine. He could bring random women over and screw them within weeks of mom dying, but to hell with me, I guess. My brother could get into fights in school where he almost had criminal charges brought against him. He could literally steal from everyone to pawn it, and he could even steal some of mom's things to pawn. But that was also fine. Oh, and he got suspended twice and was so close to expulsion. My sister could smash stuff, bully her friends and other kids at school, and spend $5,000 on one of Dad's credit cards without permission. That was all fine. But I was expected to be better and not grieve. I was told I had stolen everyone else's time with mom, that I was the reason mom was dead. They said I ruined everything. So I moved out and stayed away, and then Dad met someone else and married her. Then I was getting grief for not meeting our new mom. My siblings were calling her mom from the jump, and everyone slotted her into their life where mom left. I was called selfish for not doing the same. They said I was ruining the family and the family vibe. That new mom was feeling hurt that her oldest son wouldn't even meet her. I was told over and over how amazing she was, and how she took care of them so well and did everything for them. After more than a year of that, I lost it, and I told them if their selfish butts wanted to replace mom so they could be taken care of, then go ahead, but I never would. And I said I hoped they didn't live to regret acting like mom was so easy to replace, because that was exactly what they did. They replaced her. They acted like she wasn't important after all the crap they gave her, and then me. Then I went no contact. It's been over a year now since that. They were trying to get in touch but couldn't, and didn't believe me when I told them I was done. But after a while, they wondered why they couldn't reach me, so they had my uncle ask and I confirmed I was no contact. He was shocked. He asked me why and I told him I was working on myself and wanted nothing to do with them after everything. Then he said I should cut them some slack and I told him no, because they cut me none and they were awful, that the new mom stuff was it and I was done. He told them, and he shared how mad they are, and he shared how he felt I was being too harsh. I don't get why I have to be the one to accept all that crap, and why I need to be Mr. Freaking Perfect. But maybe I am an a-hole? He also brought up when I accused them of replacing mom, and he said that was going too far. Not the a-hole. Screw all of them. Uncle should be next on the no-contact list if he keeps putting pressure on you. I hope you're in therapy. This is a huge thing to process on your own. I started therapy in the last year. I had been trying to find a therapist for a few months before that. It's rough, and I'm still not through the hardest parts yet, but it's helping. F all of them. And F your uncle too. I'm sorry, OP. Thank you. I miss my mom so much. And now knowing my uncle can't be trusted is rough. He was the last one I talked to.